freaking first cut. Golly. What's up, YouTube? Round one in the books for the Charles Schwab Challenge. We're here to break it all down and look ahead to the live odds. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We'll start right now. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman. That right there, Sia Nejad, and we are all things Charles Schwab Challenge. Sia, three things. I'll lump them into two things. You are a great team player. That is number one. You filled in for me on my podcast earlier this week. You are filling in here tonight. That's number one. Number two, it is always well received. I always get a lot of tweets that say, more Sia. I need Sia in my life, etc., etc.
I love hearing that. I'm hoping you're not just making that up to make me feel better.
I would, but I'm not.
Okay, well, thank you for the I would if it actually wasn't a thing. But thank you. Listen, I love filling in, whether it's Kyle or Coach or Greg. I'm a first cut guy, Rick. So I'm here for that and the scramble. Listen, I love talking golf, first of all, and I love talking about what we predicted. Right, we predicted that, of course, Patrick Reed and Nick Taylor would be at the top of the board at the end of round one. We predicted that, right?
This was almost a Martin Trainer week. We almost got a Martin Trainer week for a few minutes there.
Yes.
But this leaderboard, all right, so there are a couple guys who are still playing, but there are 7 tied at the top, 66. There are another 7, one back at 3 under. That's 14 either tied for the lead or one shot back. Sia, dare I say, it's wide open.
It's wide open, and it's going to lend itself to probably some cool or interesting live bets, because when you have so many people sort of packed at the top, and honestly, if the 2 wonders and wonder, obviously everybody's still in play, but I think there's some guys that I'm sure we'll look at later on in this show that have some pretty enticing odds this early in the tournament.
Yeah, we can't talk about them all. So let me point out a couple of notables already in at 66. That's 4 under par around Colonial, the number 1 golfer in the world. Very quick bounce back, a bogey-free 66 around Colonial for Scottie Scheffler. You and I had talked a lot this week that missed cut from Scottie Scheffler at the PGA Championship was basically the best missed cut you could have asked for. And here he is right out of the gate playing well again.
Yeah, what's really great about Scottie Scheffler, and it's just so telling how good this guy is, because he wasn't super precise off the tee, and yet he sort of navigated his way to a tie for first. He wasn't great with the putter, and yet he navigated his way to a tie for first. So this is a guy that even when he's slightly off, yeah, he was great on approach, but even when he's slightly off, he's still kind of on. So imagine a scenario where Scottie Scheffler is just crushing it in all the metrics, which we normally see that from him. So the fact that he's 4 under here, it's probably pretty scary for everybody else.
Harold Varner III, he had himself a day. He makes bogey on number 1, which is a very easy hole. He then birdies 2, 3, and 4. He had an eagle at 11. It was a colorful day on the scorecard for HV3. He was popular in fantasy formats. I know a lot of us put a wager in on HV3. I think he would be, at least me personally, if he wins this, I'll be a very happy man.
Well, hand up here, I faded him, because anytime HV3 is a popular guy, I'm just going to auto fade him. Same argument for Abraham Answer, same argument for Brian Harmon. I don't play those guys if they're popular for the most part. But Rick, you were on this when we did our DFS show on Monday. You were all over HV3, and you gave a particular sort of bent towards his par 3 scoring, the long par 3 scoring, and it's all showing up. He's positive in all metrics through round 1. And I guess it's a surprise to very few people at this point.
The concern is it's never about Thursday for Howard Varner III. Never really about Friday, never really about Saturday. It's that pesky Sunday, Sia, that sometimes can bite him. So while I have fingers crossed, I am cautiously optimistic.
Well, Rick, I have some breaking news for you. Are you ready?
Oh,
I see you're sitting down. HV3 is not going to win the Charles Schwab Challenge. I almost said invitational. Why don't they call it the Invitational?
It is an invitational by nature, but it's not called that.
Yeah, I may refer to it interchangeably because it's an invitational. That's what it should be called. But I'm sorry, Rick, he's not going to win it. Hopefully you had like a top 20, because I think that's where he ultimately lands. Sorry.
That's all right. Couple other names here. Let's see. Kevin Niles won this event. He is T8. We can skip over that. Davis Riley. How about this one?
Thank you.
Okay.
He's so
Davis
good.
Riley is sniffing himself. He is feeling himself. 4 straight top 12s coming into this event. Now 1 shot off the lead in that big log jam, a tie for 8th. He's figured it out. He's found it. He's gotten more comfortable. I don't know what adjectives it is, Sia. He's just playing really good golf right now.
Yeah, I criticized him last week before the tournament started because I'm like, I just don't believe in the approach game. I think your retort at the time was, listen, ever since the Zurich, when he played with Will Zalatoris, the guy's just been on fire. And of course, you're right. And he's crushing it on approach again. I mean, he's a big gainer on approach, a big gainer around the green, a loser with the putter, and yet he's still 3 under. And I believe, and again, I'm sure we'll check this later, but last I checked, his odds were around 25-1. Now, with a name like Davis Riley, only 1 day through, that's not super enticing, but it might be enticing enough for me to put something on. This guy is just kind of coming out of nowhere. Nobody's talking about him until very recently. And I think he's completely dialed in.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's good to hear. Couple notables here. Justin Thomas, 1 over, lost 3.8 strokes on approach. I will look it up. I'd be willing to wager about $15. That's his worst strokes gained approach round ever. Is that a bigger surprise than Jordan Spieth losing another stroke and a half on the putting surfaces? He's 1 under par.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm seeing it, Justin Thomas is, it looks like right now, and I'm sure it's still updating, he's like 3rd worst in this field on approach. And by the way, all you Brian Harmon backers, he's 2nd worst at the moment. This might change. Justin Rose is about 5th or 6th worst. So the point is, I have a lot. Listen, Justin Thomas is Justin Thomas. We'll see. I mean, obviously, there's the psychological, sort of downfall or downturn from a big, win. And so maybe that's at play here. As far as Jordan Spieth, I actually have a lot of confidence in him. He missed a couple short putts, but his putter, I thought for the most part was pretty good. I mean, he burned a lot of edges. He made a few long putts. I think it might be just slightly like a concentration problem when it's like 5 feet in, but the way he's been able to navigate his way out of trouble has been actually really impressive. So I think if he actually, the ball striking really comes to what we saw the last few weeks with his ball striking, I think he could really make a charge up this leaderboard.
What did I say? JT's strokes gained approach was -379. Oh no, he's had some bad rounds. That is his 5th worst round ever. 5th out of 694 rounds on the PGA Tour. That was the 5th worst one for JT on approach. Are you at all worried about Collin Morikawa in the putter? Because this is now kind of a little bit of a trend. He was even par, was awesome on approach. He gained 2.5 strokes there. He lost 3 with the putter, and you can see it starting to bother him out there. You can see he's starting to look a little, I don't know if he's misreading them, getting a bit confused, but this is starting to become a trend.
I know, Rick. See, Rick, I'm not as big of a name as Rick Run Good and some of these other guys that aren't first cut, but a week ago, or at least 4 days ago, I told everybody that, this wasn't reported, at his news conference immediately prior to the PGA Championship, he put a line on his ball, which was new to him. He said he wished he had more time to experiment with it, but oh well, we're here at the PGA Championship, so I'm just going to have at it. By the way, that's almost a direct quote. There was no confidence coming from this man when it came to his new style of putter. And long story short, he's A, bad putter right now, and B, is trying something out. I am not interested in a bad putter who is, quote, trying something out. So I'm sorry, I'm not big enough in the community to break this news to the entire golf world, the entire golf universe, but I'm trying to tell you, and nobody's talking about it.
Well, maybe you are now. Maybe now we heed those warnings. I will tell you, the 3 strokes that he lost with the putter. Oh boy, this is so embarrassing. I had the wrong column selected. 3 strokes he lost with the putter. Yeah, that's like his 8th worst putting performance ever. So not good. Sia Nejad for Collin Morikawa. You mentioned it at the top. Because we've got such a logjam, it is creating a very interesting situation with the odds board. And also because the books don't want to get burned on Jordan Spieth still. Very interesting situation with the odds board. So I want to take a look at that. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Our friends over at Caesars Sportsbook, as you can imagine, have listed the number one golfer in the world, the man who is tied atop the leaderboard, Scottie Scheffler, as the favorite to win the Charles Schwab Challenge. He is plus 450. Webb Simpson, very nice round of 66. So maybe the PGA Championship was sign of things to come for old Webber. He's 10-1. And then Jordan Spieth, 3 shots back. Caesar's not going to get burned here. Sia, 12-1 along with Chris Kirk. But you're right. You start scrolling down this list and you will find guys who are in the lead or very, very close to it for some long numbers.
There's plenty of long numbers out there. I'm looking at a guy like Austin Smotherman, who was 6,300 in DraftKings and was quite the popular play. He's 3 under right now with 2 holes to play. Now, listen, over 4 days, is it going to happen? Probably not. But like Adam Long is down here. I mean, there's some names that I think Brendan Todd played well. I know Greg Ducharme really liked him. I think there's some like low end names that actually have a tiny bit of win equity here.
Austin Smotherman, 100-1. Right now. You pointed out Davis Riley, who is indeed 25-1. I mean, Cam Davis, Sia, who has won within the last, 6 months, is 28-1 and tied for the lead. Cam Davis.
Yeah. And on these slightly shorter tracks, we know that Cam Davis can sometimes play well, even though we don't kind of see him as a good course fit when it comes to that. I don't think I'm going to be betting Cam Davis. We know he can win. I'd rather probably take like Davis Riley, for example, at 25-1 rather than Cam at 28.
So what's the strategy here? Do you kind of pepper like a couple of these guys? Like, if you gave me Cam Davis at 28-1 right now, who is tied for the lead, and you gave me Max Homa at 35-1, which is a little bit longer than his pre-tournament odds, just 3 back. Like, if I made those 2 bets right now, I think I'd be kind of happy about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Did you say Max Homa was 35 or 40-1?
I see him at 35-1 right now.
Okay. There may or may not be other places where he's 40-1.
There are no other sports books.
That's true. That's 100% true. That's not a thing. I do like Max Homa at 35-1 for the record. I think that's a good bet. I think Max Homa was pretty good today. I mean, he wasn't great. His greens and regulation wasn't great. It should have been a little bit better. He had a couple bad holes, but he navigated this course really well when he was in trouble.
He's 3 shots back. This is insane. There are so many guys here. There are 41 guys either tied for the lead or 3 shots back. That feels irregularly compact to me.
I'm curious Victor Hovland's 22-1. Wow, that is really interesting given where I like the Homa bet. I might pepper Austin Smotherman just because I think he really was a good course fit here. He can get hot with the putter. He can get hot on approach. I don't have a problem with him. And by the way, props to Mito Pereira. I thought he really battled today after a really poor start. I'm impressed.
Yeah, he got back to even par. He made bogeys on 3, 4, and 5. He did the horrible horseshoe trio where you bogey all 3 of those holes. Cam Tringale did it too. Tringale did not really bounce back after that. I know from experience, unfortunately, as being an investor in him. But yes, Mito Pereira did bounce back, shoot even par. And even par is 4 shots off the lead with 54 to go.
If I may, Sam Burns at 80-1. He's only 5 shots back. You see a plus next to his name and you're like, oh, it was just a horrible round. He's 5 shots back. And honestly, of course, Scheffler's in front of him. There's a lot of good names in front of him, but this thing could flip tomorrow. We have 3 more days of golf to go. Sam Burns at 80? I might have to play that on principle.
This is so fun. This is like my favorite betting board of the year.
Just it is.
These guys right here.
It's a great setup with just a bunch of guys at the top. It pushes everybody down. I actually think this is a really good night to catch some mid-tournament odds. And I think Burns and Homa and maybe even Smotherman, even though I will admit that's an extreme long shot, I think they're all in play. Look at their CT Pan at 80-1. He's been crushing it.
I love
Don't give me Tony Finau, though. Don't even talk to me about Tony Finau. No. He could be 160-1. I'm not taking that.
No Tony. All right, Sia. Much appreciated, my friend. First cut will be back after each and every round this week. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what this odds board, what the leaderboard looks like after round 2, because it's mayhem at the moment. Producer Jacob does all that hard work behind the scenes. Sia Nejad, available on Twitter at Sia Nejad. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been the first cut. We'll catch you next time.